Hey everybody, it's the Fabric Mermaid. I just wanted to do a quick little video making a scrunchie because scrunchies are super fun, and if you knew me a couple years ago, my head was completely shaved and I actually have hair, so I can actually put a scrunchie in. So it's kind of neat to use all these scraps that have been left over from masks to make scrunchies. So I'm kind of there. This is not an exact science. It's just kind of whatever's left over. So this scrunchie was made with a piece that was about 2.5 inches. I'd say that's probably the smallest to use. So 2.5 inches. This one was about 3.5 inches. Or no, this one's 4.5. Sorry, 4.5 inches, and then this one was 5 inches, almost 5 inches. And then you can see kind of the more fabric you have, the more scrunchy it is. But the elastic inside is all the same, and the length is all the same. It's just whatever half of the salvage is. So the piece was the end pieces after cutting a bunch of masks, and I just cut a bunch in half. So like this piece right here, it's a little over 4 inches by almost 22.5 inches, which is just fine. The first thing you're going to do is make sure it's straight. You want it all to be straight. You're going to fold it in half this way, and you're going to leave the more space you leave here, the easier it is for the next part. So that's up to you. I'm leaving probably, what is that, 4 or 5 inches or so. So you're just going to take your sewing machine, do about 1/4 inch from the edge. Again, this is just having fun with scraps, so it doesn't have to be exact. You're gonna go forward, backwards, lock that stitch, and then you're just gonna stitch almost all the way down. So you're gonna stitch till you're almost at the end. If you are a new sewer, pinning your edges will be easier. Otherwise, you can just hold on to it and then lock your stitches, take it out, cut it. So now we have kind of this partial tube. So we have an open end here, an open end here. Oh, sorry. Again, it's going to be front facing. We want the front on the inside and the inside on the outside for right now. I found a tool, a little hack, if you want to say, to make these scrunchies super fast and super easy. These are called ribbon holder thingies. I actually don't remember what they're called, but something ribbon, and they're for weaving things through castings, and this makes this super easy. So I use 2. I'm going to attach, instead of, normally what you'd do is you'd sit here and you'd fiddle with this, and you'd like put it all the way through, and then your thumbs would cramp, and you get to the other side, and then you'd take something and take like a pencil and tape your elastic to the end of the pencil and then weave it through. Hope you don't poke anything or the elastic doesn't fall off. So I found this super fun. Well, it is kind of fun. It's fun because it's easy. So I'm going to take my one side. I'm going to take my elastic. I'm going to pin. Not pin, sorry. I'm just going to put my ribbon threader thing here, and this little pin slides down, and so that's just holding my elastic on this top end. And then I'm going to take this other pin and I'm going to put it at the bottom of the elastic, and then I kind of have 2 things. So now what I'm going to do is I found that if I open this up and twist it a little bit, I can kind of make a little pocket for this to start to go through, so I can feed this through. And then I use my chest to kind of feed the whole thing through, and I just go like this. Sorry, you can't see what I'm doing. So then we end up with this little piece here, and I'm going to pull this And I'm not going to feed this all the way through because I do want the end of this elastic to stay out. So I kind of move this up, pull this down, move this up, pull this down. So I'm turning my scrunchie right side out and feeding my elastic at the same time. So I'm kind of doing like a double. And then because I have this nice open space, I have access to my ribbon threader. And then I take this down. Okay. Don't look at my nails too much. I've been cleaning. Sorry, I just took a break to show you this cool thing. And then we undo the other side. So now we've got this partial scrunchie happening. And now I'm going to make a square knot. Now for me, I have to say this out loud, otherwise I'll get my sides confused. And I always go left over right, and then I'm going to make a little half knot, I guess. And then I'm going to take the right side, which was the left side, and I'm going to go over right over left. So I go left over right and then right over left, and that makes a square knot, so I don't have to try to sew this elastic, which I tried. It's a pain in the butt and it doesn't stay and it pops open, but this square knot's not going to bust at all. So for me to get the maximum amount of elastic, I'm actually going to take my ribbon threader, pinch off, pinch these off, stay, and have it hold my elastic for me as I tighten the back end so I can use as much elastic as possible. And then when I let this go, I've got this nice square knot that's not going to go anywhere. Next step, I'm going to take the outsides of the straight edges, and I'm going to put the fronts facing together, line those edges up, and I'm going to sew these together. I was trying to make a quick little video, sorry, super long, sorry, but I think it will be awesome and fun anyway. Forward and backwards stitching, just a 1/4 inch from the edge, just stitching all the way across, forward and backwards at the end. Knock that off. So now I've attached this. You can see we're almost looking like a scrunchie. So if I just fold these over and sew them, I'm going to have a big bunch of fabric here. So what I do is I have one seam go one way, and I just tuck it in with my hand, fold it in about a 1/4 inch, and then I'm going to have the other seam on the other side go the other direction and fold this over. So when I bring these two seams together, it's not going to be too much fabric all bulked into one. So make sure that you have your elastic on the inside. Fold over your seams, and then you're going to line up that middle seam together so it's all lined up together, and then you're going to pin it around the open section. And here you kind of have a choice. You can just sew the open hole, but I find that it kind of keeps it a little organized if you sew actually all the way around the outside to sew that seam. It kind of gets everything all flat and kind of makes the scrunchie look nice. I always pin where the end of my sewing is, just so I know exactly where everything is ending. So pin it closer as far as you feel comfortable you need to pin. If you used an iron, you might not need to pin it at all. However, you have to be careful ironing the elastic, because the elastic does not like to get ironed, and you'll know that because it will go and then you'll kind of smell some burning rubber, and then when you go to pull your elastic, you'll hear it go because it's all burnt. Ask me how I know. Well, I ironed some elastic just the other day. So pinning this hole, you can make this hole or smaller if you want to. It just gets a little more difficult to sew the ends together the smaller your hole is. So it just depends on where you want to spend your time. If you want to not spend so much time pinning and you don't mind kind of fighting with the hole, you can kind of, there's probably like a perfect size that gives you the optimum amount of space to maneuver everything out and get it sewn up and still not have a big giant gaping hole to have to sew up. So, you know, you can experiment with that. But once I decided I was going to be sewing all the way around, it didn't matter how big my hole was because I'm going to be taking that stitch all the way around. And then you just go, now you're going to go 1/8 of an inch from the edge. I'll show you. If I can flip this around. No, it didn't like that. Okay, so you can see I'm very close to the edge for this. So we're 1/8 of an inch around. That wasn't the best way to do that, sorry. But okay, here we go. Here we go. I'm gonna go forwards, backwards, forwards. Make sure you take those pins out. Ideally before you stitch. Sometimes in some situations you do sew over your pins carefully. However, I don't suggest doing it too often because eventually you will break your needles and they'll go make not fun noises, or you'll chip your tip, and then you will kind of punch through your fabric instead of gently glide in between the threads. And when you've got a dull or broken needle tip, you can snag your fabric and get runs and all sorts of other not so fun stuff. That's one of the worst things, to work really hard on a project and then have your needle go through and snag a thread, and then you have to decide, are you going to do it all over again? Can you fix it? Can you hide it? Maybe you just have to stop and cry in the corner for a minute, come back and look at it and realize it probably isn't going to be even noticed, which is usually the case. But yeah, you want to be careful with those needle tips. We are almost done here. I have so many scraps left over from cutting yards and yards of fabric for masks. I've been, of course, keeping it all. And I try to figure out what to do with them. So now I'm going to cut. And so basically the scrunchie is done. All I have to do is cut my threads here carefully so I don't cut my fabric. And now we've got this super fun, personalized scrunchie for all scrunchie wearers to wear. Also, the fun thing is that if you're making masks, you can make scrunchies to match the masks. Like, how fun is that? So I was just Fabric Mermaid showing you a fun, easy, quick way to make a scrunchie out of the leftover scraps of your fabric. And I will have some other things I've been making scraps with. As soon as I kind of have little breaks in between stuff, I'll try to make some more videos for you. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at thefabricmermaid@gmail.com. Okay, have a wonderful day and stay safe. Bye!